Well, very good morning. Welcome. I think we are live. I think we have a good picture. Sound is working. No? We have a few minutes so we can just hang together. But welcome to you. We'll start right on time. There you go. Well, we'll just let the dog pound puppy bark. I should have probably brought her in first. You know what? Give me 2 seconds. All right, sorry about that. All right, we'll start here in a minute. We got a little pound puppy, still learning manners and just learning how to feel safe and do okay. So I just brought her in real quick. All right, 8 a.m. on the dot. So nice to see you all. My name is Eric, and it's an honor to be here with you. And it's an honor to represent Comeback Yoga. Comeback Yoga is a nonprofit organization that offers free yoga classes and trainings for veterans. And they have a tremendous number of classes and networking up and down the Front Range of Colorado and from the Eastern Plains to the Western Slopes. And then we're out on YouTube, so all over the world potentially. So it's a real honor and a pleasure to have you here. And I hope today's practice is fruitful for you. So our practice today, all right, so we're working on the upper body. And then we're looking at choice. Choice. Really super tricky word and how it's meant, but we can put it in a particular context within the practice. And there's a couple of pieces that allow us to have choice. Number one is setting an intention, being able to set an intention. Now, this setting an intention, where it's a choice and not a reaction, it comes from the prefrontal lobe, the neocortex part of the brain. So this is a part of the brain that we want to stimulate. And the way that we can do that is through our breath, intentionally breathing, and then having intentional movements. So when you can notice in yourself that you intentionally set to make a movement or breathe a breath, you're building this wiring in the prefrontal lobe and the medial cortex. As we do this through the practice, it allows you to create stronger neural networks so that your sense of choice is reinforced throughout the day. So the reactions are less. All right, so having choice is prefrontal lobe neocortex part of the brain. When we react in that fight or flight, that's that brainstem. Amygdala, the limbic system, that's your fight flight part of your brain. So let's see what we can do to strengthen this prefrontal lobe neocortex. All right. In the first place, we start is with the breath. So throughout the whole practice, doing the very best that you can to breathe in through the nostril and out through the nostril without pausing in the breath cycle. That's the key. We're also going to be breathing in through the nostril and out through pursed lips in certain places to help bring the heart rate down. Mm-hmm. And then as I give the cues on the movement of the exercise, see if you can just practice within yourself, okay, of repeating the cues in your mind, in your own self, and then deliberately doing them from your own autonomy, okay? So for example, if I say move your head, okay, if I move, you move your head, all right? You see it and you hear the cue, and then you deliberately say it in yourself, to yourself, and then you make the movement. And that will build that autonomy. Right? We want to learn how to discern what's a good thing or a bad thing. If somebody tells me to go do something that's not very healthy to me, I have to learn how to discern and just not do something that they tell me to do. All right, we want to be able to discern and so that you have your own autonomy. All right, so let's see what we can do throughout the practice. Okay, so draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone. Posture is so important. If you could think of the nervous system of like an antenna, and notice what happens when you draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone, and let the head just naturally sit on top of the center of gravity. Can you notice a lightness in the body, an attentiveness? A lightness and an attentiveness. All right? That's it. All right, like an antenna. And then let's go ahead and we're going to look over to the left, working on the neck first. We're working the upper body. So let's look over the left shoulder and in through the nostril and then out through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. Breath in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril in and out through pursed lips. And then your head goes over to the right. Big breath in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. And we'll do one more to balance it out. And then come back to center. All right, now some head movement. So we're going to look over to the left, and then we're going to drop the chin, making this little half circle coming up and over to the other side, and then dropping the chin, coming up, and then we're looking over to the left. And now this time looking straight up. So you want to look straight up like you're looking up at the stars and coming up and over to the other side. And then straight up again, looking up and over to the left side. And then back to center. And then let's go ahead and give a nice stretch in the neck. So take your right hand and then bring it over to the other side of the head. And you just want to bring a nice little stretch where you feel very comfortable. You only need 10% effort. And then let's go ahead and press into the fingertips with 10% effort for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. And then coming back in, a little PNF stretching, 3 times 7 seconds. Go ahead, pressing into the fingertips, stretching the side of the neck and the shoulder. And we're already halfway through into the second set, but 3 sets of 7, and then relax. And then pressing into the head. And pressing. Nice and easy though, and then release. And then you can offer yourself some organic movement. And then let's do the other side. So pressing into the fingertips, pressing, 7, 6. Looking for pleasant sensations. And then relax. And then pressing in. And releasing. And then coming back in, pressing. And then nice stretch on both sides of the neck, and then just offer yourself some organic movement. Looking for pleasant sensations. Okay, not forcing anything. All right, let's go ahead and work on the shoulder girdle. So we're going to find our goalposts here. And then inhale in through the nostril. And then on the exhale, go ahead and reverse the goalpost. And then on the inhale, bringing the goalpost back. And then you just want to link movement and the breath together intentionally. So this is going to build that ability to choose. So you're choosing to link the breath and the movement within your own autonomy. I'm giving you a cue, but within yourself, you're building the ability to link intention and attention. And then bring it back up one more time. And then exhale. And then just shake out the arms. Now you see the shaking of the arms. You see me do it, and you might not see it with other yoga instructors, and that's okay. I'm not trying to invent any wheels, but if you see me doing this shaking, these organic movements, it's very good for the fascial system and for the nervous system to recover. Okay, so that's why we do it. All right, so let's come back into the goalposts and let's work on the shoulder. So on the inhale, you're going to expand. So you're expanding like you're going to press pencil in between your shoulder blades. And then on the exhale, bringing the elbows together and then back into the inhale. And then exhale in through the nostril and out through the nostril. Linking the breath and the movement intentionally, aligning intention and attention. You hear me say the cue, but then you tell yourself, you give yourself the command, you choose to align the intention or the breath and the movement together. And you will build that choice mechanism within the brain. We'll do one more. It's all prefrontal lobe neocortex. And then just shake it out. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. All right, and let's let's open up the hands and the phalanges. So you want to take the fingers and you bring them together at a point, and then you open them up. Now we want to do them at different speeds. So medium speed, and then real fast. Boom, 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 boom. All right. And then the hands like this, and we're going to rotate the wrists, rotating in. And you just do the wrist, and then the other way. And we're just systematically opening up the joints. This allows information and the meridians to open up. And now the elbows. When we open up these joints like this, this allows for that information within the peripheral nervous system to move freely the other way. And consistent action, consistent practice of this over time will do what? Lead to healthy joint movement, and then shake it out. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's the old saying. If you don't use it, you lose it. All right. And then let's do some cat-cows. I'll give you a side profile. So seated cat-cows. So pressing the sternum forward, looking up and broadening through the collarbone, and taking a breath. That's the inhale, that's the cow. And then on the exhale, tucking the chin, pressing the head towards the feet, and then you want to press the spine outward. And then on the inhale, and then on the exhale. And then you go back and forth. And back and forth. You're linking inhale and exhale. And then each breath a little smoother and each breath a little longer. So you want as much oxygen into the nervous system as possible. Smoother and longer. We'll do one more. And then exhale. And then I'll come back to center. And then you just shake it out. There we are. And then just be still for a moment. And what do you notice? Do you notice any pleasant sensations? Opportunities for the body to relax. A sense of ease or lightness. Big organic breaths. Or any opportunities where the mind is just still and you find yourself to be present here, now, content. The next exercise seemingly is a lower body exercise, but it really does help the whole upper body to come back into alignment, and that is a wide-legged squat. All right. So let's come into a wide-legged squat. Feet are about 45-degree angle, and then dropping the tailbone, drawing your shoulders back and down, broadening through the collarbone, and breathing. So this is a static pose, but there is a lot going on. The first idea is to find the sweet spot. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're looking for the 4, 5, 6 level of intensity, where you are engaged yet relaxed. Engaged yet relaxed. And then looking for pleasant sensations. Any opportunities to find any type of relaxation, release, lightness, big organic breaths, sighs, yawns. These are all signs of release. And then any opportunities where you notice that the mind is just still and you're present here. Now, content. And this is going to help balance out the pelvic girdle, open up the hips, and then it allows the spine to realign. And that's enough. Go ahead and lay out your legs. Lay out your legs like this, just straight out in front of you, and give a little tapotment. This should feel good. Just letting that muscle relax off the bone. And then we'll come back into seat and we'll get a twist in. This twist, super important. All right, sitting up straight. Shoulders back and down, broad through the collarbone, and then your left hand to the base of your spine, and then your right hand comes over to your left knee and lifting up and over. Lifting up and over, and you're looking straight over your left shoulder. On the inhale, you're lifting up through the crown of the head, and on the exhale, twisting to the left and continuing to lift up through the top of the head and twisting over to the left and breathing. Pausing on the breath cycle, find the sweet spot, and look for pleasant sensations. And then come on back. And then twisting the other way. Right hand supports at the tailbone, lifting up to the top of your head, and then twisting over to the right and breathing. Lifting up to the top of the head and twisting to the right and breathing. And there's an organic breath that I just felt, so I'm going to come back into center. All right. All right. How you feeling? How's everything feeling? All right. Let's get a side bend in. Hands behind your head. And then just a little warm up. Side bends, left, right. You can even throw a little back bend, forward fold. And then lifting through the top of your head. We'll come back in the center, and then I'll be your mirror. So let's come up and over to your right. So you're lifting up to your left side body. On the inhale, you're lifting up through the ribs, through the side body, and breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth, easy. Each breath a little smoother and a little longer. And then come on back up. And then up and over the other way now. Lifting up through the right side body. Each breath a little smoother and a little longer. The more oxygen you can breathe in, the better for the nervous system. And those smooth inhales to allow you to find a little bit more space in the thoracic cavity. And then come on back up. And then a back bend. So I'll give you a good back bend. I'll give you a side profile as if you can support yourself and then lift up to the sternum and then start dropping the head back. Broadening through the collarbone. And breathing. And then come on back up. And then just shake it out. And give it a shake. All right, let's go ahead and stimulate the 12 cranial nerves and the 7 glands. Go ahead and give yourself a hug and rub your shoulders. Nose nice and straight. And you're just going to look your eyeballs to the, just moving the eyeballs to the left. Big breath in through the nostril. And then exhale, look your eyeballs to the right. Exhale through pursed lips. Breath into the nostril, looking left. Let it go looking right. And then switch it up. Left arm over right. Nose nice and straight. This time you're looking up. Big breath into the nostril, looking up. And then let it go looking down. Breath into the nostril, looking up. And then let it go looking down. And then just shake it out. And then a little, let's go ahead and turn off the TV in the head. A little snap and tap. We're balancing left and right hemisphere of the brain. And a little tap. And stimulating the hypothalamus, pineal gland, and the pituitary gland. And a little snap, looking left, and looking to the right, and looking to the left, and looking to the right. A little tap. And then thumbs on the temple, and a little massage on the forehead. Bringing that blood flow into the prefrontal lobe. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. A little tap on the hand. We're just going to link the central and peripheral nervous system. This builds what they call in the Western world body awareness. So left shoulder to the right knee, right shoulder to the left knee. Building coordination. Proprioception, big fancy word, proprioception. All right. And then the bones of the face, you want to tap the bones of the face about a half dozen times. I call this taking off the mask. And then the cheekbones, along the jaw. This is all vagus nerve stimulation. And then the collarbones, thymus. And then you can rub the kidneys where the adrenal glands are. All right. And then draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone. And then find that posture where your body is light, grounded here, now. And let's bring the practice into the day. And just notice that relaxed attentiveness. Breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. This will build your resolve and your ability to make a choice. It is a prefrontal lobe process. It will relax that animal brain. So deliberately breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. With each breath a little smoother and a little longer will help drop the heart rate. And then throughout the day, look for the sweet spot in everything you do, that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement, where you're engaged yet relaxed. Engaged yet relaxed. And then look for pleasant sensations, such as an ease in the body, relaxation, or any opportunity where you can go from tight to light. Tight to light. Big organic breaths, sighs, and yawns are all ways of the nervous system relaxing and recovering. And then look for opportunities where the mind is still and you find yourself to be present here, now, content. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today. From one veteran to another and all those that care for us, love us, and support us. Have an amazing day. Namaste.